Coming to you as Rob Alcom. I'm just a concerned citizen, not coming to you as a pastor, but coming to you as a concerned citizen. And it's good to have Miss Terri with us today. And what an honor it is to, she is running for school board, and I'm going to let her introduce herself to you here in just a minute. But I want you to hit the share button. I want you to get the word out. Follow us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube. And all we do this, Ms. Terri, we do this so people can learn their politicians and learn who's running for office. And again, we want to thank you for taking time to come in and be with us. And so I want you to just take just a minute and share with the people in Union County and what you're running for, what district you're running for, and maybe first, before you even do that, just share a little about your family. Share about who you are. And so go ahead.
My name is Terri Blumer. I am a Charlotte native, so I grew up in Charlotte. My husband and I have been married a little over 30 years. We have one son, Andrew, who we adopted around the age of 4.5 from another country.
From another country?
Yes. So that was, that's a whole nother chapter. But we specifically moved to Union County in 2006 as we heard Union County schools were some of the best. And that's what we wanted because we knew he was going to be going into school soon. So we moved here and we brought him home, and he had a lot of delays. So we dealt with that process, worked through that, got into the EC program with the schools. Different schools, but he did graduate from Sun Valley High with a certificate. It's a little different with some of the EC kids. And he graduated in 2024. And during that time, we built a business. We have our own business, my husband and I. We have a manufacturing plant here in Monroe. We're very patriotic, conservative Christians. That's who we are. That's what we've taught our son Andrew. You love God, you love people, and that's what we try to do. And I never really thought I would get into politics. I served on different boards, room parent throughout middle school, elementary school, served as a secretary on the PTSO board in middle school, helped out in high school, served on the Special Needs Advisory Board, which is a specific board within Union County as a parent representative from the Sun Valley District, and other local things. And just over the years, seeing how the schools have grown, how our county has grown, and obviously the EC kids, the numbers are getting more with that, and feeling like there needs to be a voice on the board that speaks not just for all the kids, but also speaks for our EC kids.
You shared a number with me just a minute ago that sort of shocked me, and I want you to share with them how many, as a percentage, of EC kids, and maybe there's somebody out there that don't quite understand what an EC kid is. I want you to share that, and I'll be honest with you, I'm very, especially here, we have a private school here, and I'm very careful when I talk about this, because I think it don't matter what challenge somebody has. I don't want to put a tag on them. I never put a tag on them, and I never, a parent can come in here and say, my kid has this, and I said, well, you can say that. I'm not. Right. Because God made us perfect. We are fearfully and wonderfully made. And yes. So I want you to explain. Some of them, some people might not understand what, EC class is, or EC. Sure. So and tell them the percentage that we have in our school system today.
So according to the website, Union County Public School website, we have about 10% of our school population is classified under the exceptional children's department. Now, exceptional children typically is someone with an IEP, which is an individualized education plan. And that can be someone who maybe just needs a little extra help with a reading class or a math class, or it could be that they need to be in a separate class with similar peers where they get a little more one-on-one instruction. Some people call it self-contained classrooms. That's kind of what that is. So it's a range. It's not all the 10%. I'm sure is not all the kids that are in the self-contained classrooms.
Yeah.
But we have those classrooms in every school that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm talking about. My son has autism and he has delays. And so it takes him a little longer to learn a lot of the basic things. But if you have a conversation with him and you tell him what you ate last week, he'll remember that for like the next 5 years because he has an incredible memory of facts and people's names, their dogs, where they went on vacation.
It's amazing.
It is. It's absolutely amazing.
And the thing about it is a lot of people just don't take time to listen, and they learn and they see. And so, tell us a little bit about the district. I know that you're running for District 3.
Yes.
And honestly, District 3, if are there anybody running against y'all in District 3 coming in November, or is this primary pretty much going to be it?
As far as I know, this primary will be it.
So whoever wins the primary March 3rd pretty much will be the district going in as District 3. And a lot of people don't quite understand the district. I knew what school district we was in once I started looking at politics and looking at it. But then you look at this District 3 sort of looks like a kid with a crayon that went on a Union County map and said, you know what, I'm going to make a district.
Yeah.
It's not what you think it is.
Not at all.
Because somebody says, well, if her kid went to Sun Valley, she's got to live over there in Sun Valley. And I know that I live in District 3, and I'm over on the northeast corner of the county. So why is she from Sun Valley wanting to try to run for? So tell them a little bit about how this district works.
It's, yes, it's interesting. It was reworked, I believe, in 2021, 2022. Each district is assigned high schools and in and around those areas. Typically, it's kind of all in one area. District 3 kind of runs from Parkwood High School, and it floats around Sun Valley, maybe a little bit into the Lake Park kind of area, up into Unionville, and actually a little bit into Wingate. So it's Parkwood High School and Piedmont High School. And it's very interesting because it took me about a week to get a good, clear map of what that looked like. And I looked at it and I'm like, wow, that's...
like a kid drew a picture.
That is like... So I would be representing a large chunk.
Yeah, it is a big chunk.
It is. It's interesting. Yeah. And then, like you said, but we went to Sun Valley High School. Mm-hmm. So part of that line goes up right to the edge of Sun Valley High School, but that's not in my district. But some of the people that live there are. Yeah. So it's really interesting. On my website, I put a link that you can click on, and you just put in your name, and it'll bring you up, and then you can click and see what district you live in.
And I think it's very important, especially if you got kids going to public school, to know who's representing you in mm-hmm. that district, and because you're going to be the voice. So you're pretty much going to be the voice for Piedmont and Parkwood. So let me ask you something. So you represent, and I'm saying this for the people where they understand, because sometimes we very up on our commissioners and we very up on our council and mayors and stuff. We understand that, but a lot of people don't know the job of a school board, somebody on the school board. how will that work? Will you explain to them that will you be the voice that's working, hearing what Piedmont needs, what Parkwood needs? Will you be the voice if you in that district? How's that work?
I would definitely be the voice for those, but I'm also representing all of the students.
Yeah.
You know, I mean that's got to be my focus. Well, yes, I am representing that part of the county, that district. I feel like we all have an obligation to represent all the kids,
Yeah.
everyone in every district, and we on the board. My understanding, you are on several committees, and so you have the time where you go into could be a finance committee, it could be a curriculum committee. So there's a lot of different committees, and they kind of split it up. So each person serves, and I believe it does rotate maybe once a year, once every 2 years. You just kind of mix things up and get a good feel for what's going on. But I also think that as school board members, we definitely need to be out in the community. We need to be out in our schools. I think we need to volunteer. We need to be that. Gary Sides was amazing in that. You saw him, he was going into schools reading all the time. That's, I think, needs to be just as important.
Yeah.
So that we
People
know
need to see the
what's going
face.
on.
They need to see the face. They need to
Yes.
see.
Yeah.
And because I mean, you look at our school board, and I'm just going to be honest as a citizen. A lot of times we go to the primary. If the people even get out and go to the primaries, we struggle with that. People don't get out and go vote much like they should, because if it ain't a president being, if it ain't a big office, a governor or president, it seems like the turnout's very low, and we have that right to go out and vote. And a lot of people get down to the offices, whether it might be school board or whether it might be some kind of judge, and they really don't even know these people. And a lot of times they just, hey, whatever name looks to the closest or similar, they just and they really don't know who they putting in office. And that's why we're doing this. I want people to hear, I want them to hear the why. I want them to hear the how they, this is why I'm serving, this is why I'm running, and how am I planning on doing it. So you sort of shared with us a little bit about your why, and what would you like to see, and hit on that a little bit more about what you would like to see with the school board, with the school system. Because as a concerned citizen, I've got a lot of questions looking from the outside in, and so and hey, it's like an old saying I wrote down. Everybody says, "Well, I would do this. I would do this if I was there. I would do this." But the thing about it is, it's like you said, "Well, I'm not just going to say I'm going to do this. I'm going to put my name in the hat. And I'm going to go try to do it."
Yes.
A lot of people say, "I'll just do it," and they all talk, but you putting your actions behind talk and saying, I'm going to try to go. I want to get in and serve. And so, what is your goals? What would you like to see happening, and how you plan on making it happen?
Ooh.
If you had the backing, because I know that one person on a board can't change it all, but if you had the backing of the board, what would you like to see happen?
I would like to see, I always feel like open dialogue and conversations go further. I would like to see us doing what we can to give the support to the teachers who work really hard, giving the support to the parents. Parents have rights, teachers have rights, students have rights. We can't take away from one to give to the other. So there has to be open dialogue. I believe there has to be more. What can we do? What do people want? Can we do this on the local level? What changes can we make on the local level? What do we need to take to the state level to make those changes? Is it you're not giving us enough money? Do we need to manage our money better? We got to look at those things. And I think sometimes fresh eyes can go in and maybe see something that is just, well, that's just always how we've done it. Well, is it working? Question. If we don't question, we don't grow.
Yeah.
You know, my husband tells me all the time, if you don't push and you don't question, you don't grow. If we didn't push our son, if we didn't question what he could do, he wouldn't grow. And, you know, I think that's what we need to do also. And I think that applies to the students. We got to push them. We got to grow them. Yes, college is a great option, but there's a lot of other options out there too. There's a lot of focus on our exceptional children once they get into high school, daily living skills. And the academics kind of fall aside. And I don't agree with that. I feel like there needs to be equal all the way through. Well, I think the opposite also with your typical kids. Daily living skills. You know, we did shop classes. We did
Can you change a flat tire?
Can you change a tire? You know, can you do those things? Do you have the skills? Are we learning? Are we teaching? Are we giving them a balance?
Yeah.
Has it shifted so much to one side for this student and this student? Well, can't we meet in the middle?
Yeah.
Where can we meet in the middle? These kids will go out and they got to work together. So there needs to be common ground. They need to have a middle. So that's, I guess, what I would like to see is a little more balance.
And it probably wouldn't hurt to, in the same boat, to see some more trade schools come back into our high school. I remember when I was in high school that, you know, you could go to the career center and you could learn a trade. You know, not everybody wants to go to college. Not everybody wants, you know, and not everybody, you know, if you want to go to college, great. If you don't, that's fine. Get out and start your family, have kids and go to work and make a living and with your hands. And so, you know, I reckon, speaking from the business sense, business side, you know, you in business for yourself. And how long you saying you and your husband been in business for?
Our current company, we started in 2020.
So you know how to manage money. Mm-hmm. You know how to manage money. And, you know, I reckon for me as a concerned citizen looking on the outside in, you know, I'm not sitting here trying to throw no stones and throw no darts at nobody. And because, you know what, I've got some friends that served on the school board, and I think highly of them. But in the same boat, and not saying anything about anybody that's on the school board. Matter of fact, I don't even know none of them personally. You know, but I have had some friends that served. But what I'm saying is, you see a lot of wasted money. You see a lot of money that seems to me that's wasted. You know, considering the money that flows through the Union County school system. If I'm not mistaken, we have somewhere between, I think it's 52 or 53 schools in our county. You know, elementary schools, middle schools, and high schools. And you see the money, which is, you know, let's just say rough number. I know it's somewhere a little over 40,000 students. Let's just say a number of 41,000 students with an employment rate of about, I think these 5,400 employees total in the school system. That's one employee for every 8.2 students, roughly. So, you know, here I am I'm looking at it and saying, you know, is our manpower, do we have more manpower than we need in the school systems? And some say, well, don't be cutting the school system. Don't be cut. A lot of this I ain't talking about teachers.
Right.
I'm talking about in the other parts. Do we need all this? You know, they made a change, and I'm just speaking from the outside looking in. You know, they made a change. I think it took in 22 that they made a change, and I think it was 22 they did it, and they was trying to up the graduation rate in our school system to started putting a total of one principal and 3 assistant principals in each high school. I don't know how that is. I hadn't even looked at middle school, but I think they got multiple assistants too. when I went to high school, we had one principal and one assistant.
Same here.
And I really don't think a kid, school system needs 4 principals in high school. I think I think that, I don't know why we need 4 principals now. But that added, roughly $1.6 million to our county budget by staffing just the high schools with them extra principals. Stuff like that. I'm just saying, and you say, well, we did it to up our graduation rate.
Right.
Our graduation rate really ain't changed. And if you look at the numbers, and you can, I'm trying to pull polls from everywhere. So I went to like the U.S., and I actually got these numbers off U.S. News. If you look it up yourself, you can find it. Our graduation rate on the county says it's somewhere around 93%, 93 point something percent
Yes.
graduation rate. But according to this U.S. News, our graduation rate, and I'm not including South Providence, and I'm not taking anything away from that school. It's a special school. It's just a high school or a school that it deals with students that has challenges in traditional public school setting. So I didn't even include that because their graduation rate was so far down according to this website. And I just included 11 high schools in our county, and if you take the graduation rate of 11 high schools in that county, it come up to 90.9% graduation rate out of them 11 high schools. And I found it very interesting that our best high school in our county, our best high school in our county that had the highest graduating rate and the highest college readiness rate was the biggest school in the county. I found that very interesting. The biggest school in our county, biggest high school in our county had the best graduation rate and the highest college readiness rate. And it was Marvin Ridge High School.
Right.
And I don't know what they're doing down there, but I tip my hat to them and say good job. I mean, you got a graduation rate of 95%, and 62.9% of them are college ready when they come out. They graduate. They was like 7.3% higher than any other high school in the county.
Oh.
And so that's I said, well, maybe we need to start finding out what they're doing down there and apply, put it in the other areas in the school. And
I completely agree.
but going back to wasted money, I just think that looking from outside in, we could save some money, and especially I reckon I look at the money side and the business side because, I don't have no kids in school. All my kids is graduated. I've actually had one graduate from public school, other 3 graduated from homeschool. But guess what? I still pay school taxes. Mm-hmm. And so if I pay school taxes, I ought to have an opinion about where it's spent.
I agree.
And so that's where I'm at. I think we just need to manage, and that's I think that I'm looking for somebody that's going to go on the school board that says, I'm a good manager. I'm good at managing money. I'm good at not only am I going to take care of the students, I'm going to take care of the teachers, the employees, but we're also going to manage the money right. And I know that you have to work with the county commissioners. And speak on that, the importance of having that role of the school board and the county commissioners being on the same board.
Yes.
I mean, on the same role.
On the same page.
Yeah, same page.
Working together. Yeah, it's important.
Yeah.
They're the ones that approve our budget. We've got to have that communication. And I think we should know as a school board as much that's going on in Union County as the county commissioners know. I think we should be as educated. And that's going to be, my challenge to myself is getting more educated and learning more, because they're the whole county and they've got all the people, not just the ones that have kids in school.
Yeah.
They have all the people. And obviously growth is a big concern. You get a lot of new developments. Well, what does that do to the schools? How do we manage that within the schools? Um, and we're going to have to build new schools. Where are those schools going to go? Where's the money going to come from? So I think the two have to work together to just to have that good balance and to be on the same page and do what's right for Union County.
Yeah, find out where we're at. I mean, I didn't even, and maybe I should have dug into this, and which Forest Hills ain't part of y'all's, it ain't part of District 3, is it?
No.
But, how, as we got the Forest Hills just built, where are we at capacity? Where is it, if did I build a high school that I'm already at 80% capacity? Well, I didn't build it big enough. I mean, you just, so I'm thankful that you have the grit to go do this, because I know that it's going to be, I can't imagine running, and I know that, I don't know, we didn't, I know that there's an at-large seat coming this year too. I know there's 3 is at-large, so they're gonna be 2 or 3 on the school. There could be 2 or 3 changes on the school board this year when it comes in November in the final election.
There could be actually 4, I
4.
believe.
And
3 district and 1 at large.
Well,
so it's
so it's important for people to get out and vote, is it not?
Absolutely, and do your work. Look it up. Talk to people. I will be going out, to the early voting sites and just trying to meet people and talk with them. And what district? What are your concerns? I can see lots of concerns on Facebook, but are those real concerns? Are they one person? Is it just someone who got upset? It's hard to weed out on social media what is really happening, and it's all individual perspective.
Yeah.
So the only way to really know is to go out individually and talk.
Yeah.
I feel like I've definitely been in a unique position of being in this community, being in the special needs community, regular community. We've seen incredible people rise to the challenge in working with our son in the schools, not just the teachers and the principals, but the students alone. It's great. It's an awesome feeling, and our kids just want what all the other kids want, is to be liked, to be invited to things, to participate in sports. They want the same things.
How's that work? Do they get the same opportunity with sports when it comes to sports? I mean, and I know that it can be challenging.
I think it can sometimes vary within the school. That's another thing I would like to see, what they call more unified sports. Our son ran on the track team at Sun Valley. The coaches, he had 2 different coaches at the time, and they were very accepting. Now, when he ran, he practiced with the team and he would run, but nothing of his qualified him toward any kind of regional or state, because it wasn't considered unified. So there's an area that I'd like to look at a little bit more. I feel like there's no real downside to having our kids, if they're interested and they want to do something, just let them do it.
Yeah.
We were at a track meet. It was right before COVID. It was one of his first track meets. I don't know what he was doing, but he missed his heat. And they realized it. They stopped the meet just so he could run his heat by himself, and everyone's cheering him on. I mean, that's what we need to see. Everyone's coming together, because it doesn't matter how fast or what, they're winners in their minds. They encourage. Andrew's a huge encourager of other people in everything. Yeah. He's like, come on, you can do it. Let's go. Yay. I mean, that's what he does. And I think that needs to be across the school system. And so that's another thing I would like to discuss and see. How are we doing this? How are we including them more? Elementary and middle school, they go out for specials, they have things, and sometimes when it comes to high school, it's not.
Yeah.
And so it takes either the parent kind of pushing, and some parents, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to be working a job, dealing with kids, dealing with a kid who has special needs. It's a lot. And I think as a community, we've got to come together
Yeah.
and do that and push forward with that.
Yeah, and that, you spoke something there when I talk about sports, and I would really love to see the county, Union County schools, get on board and help bringing in some of these homeschoolers and private school kids and letting them participate uh, in the sports programs. A lot of times they can participate up to middle school, but when it comes to high school, they cannot participate in a high school sport. And that's another thing I don't think is right. If I pay school taxes, I'm paying for that ball field to be worked on. And why shouldn't my kid be able to play on it just because I chose to homeschool? Are you with me? It's in my community.
Yeah,
It's my,
yeah.
and so I really wish to. And you say, well, that can't happen. Well, yeah, it can. I've got a friend of mine that runs a school in Lenore, and his school system got on board, and the school in Lenore, their private school and home schools in that whole area, their county board allows it, and they just offer one virtue class in their out of that high school or out of that school district into their private school or into the home of the homeschooler, and that kid can play in any sport.
That's great.
And I think it's awesome. We've got a bill coming down. I think it's called Senate Bill 45 that's coming down out of Raleigh, and hopefully it'll pass when the budget passes, and then we won't have to worry about nobody because it's called a Fairness Act bill with sports, and that any homeschool or any private school or anybody can play with their local high school in any sport dealing with that bill. So I hope it passes.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Like I said, with the unified, they would be with the team, but they would have their own classification.
Yeah.
And so they could, so Andrew could participate in the local, but he could not go to any regional or state because there was no qualification. So, and yes, we have Special Olympics, obviously, and Union County has been doing great with the Special Olympics and having that, and the once a year main one up in Raleigh, and that's fantastic. SPCC has done a great job in providing some more unified sports at their college. They've had bocce ball and disc golf recently. So it's slowly, I think, getting there.
Yeah.
And I would like to keep
How many
that
times a
moving
year?
forward.
How many times a year do they have some kind of sporting event for the EC children? Like, I mean, I know they have the Special Olympics, and that's just one time a year, right?
Well, they have fall, winter, and spring events or sports. So in the fall, Andrew played soccer and golf, and they have a fall, like more of a regional fall sport where you can choose to either do soccer or golf, and the coach kind of fills out, and it's usually a 1 or 2 day event. And then there's some winter, and then you go into the spring, and then the spring games are the really big games that they have up in Raleigh. And but they can only choose one event. So out of all of it, and that kind of makes sense because you're up there for like 2-3 days. So you choose like one event. So our county has done amazing to rebuild after COVID back to having the athletes, but that's outside of school. So that's not, in the school. Now, in the school, they have their Special Olympics spring games once a year. And you have one day for the elementary, and then you have one day for middle, high school, and then some community groups like UDI will come in.
Yeah.
And that's usually just small events. One day, run some races, throw the ball, discus, various things like that. Yeah. That's once a year, and that's a big undertaking.
What does that do for a kid?
It gives them an opportunity to be among other people. They have competitiveness.
How big a smile they have on their face?
Oh, big.
So we do it one
smiles.
time. The school does it one time a year.
Yes.
Oh, why can't we do it 5 times a year? Why can't we do it 6 times a year? You say, well, that's a big undertaking. Well, let me ask you something. It's a big undertaking, and I'm all about sports. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about sports because I love sports. But it's a big undertaking for a Friday night football game. It's a big undertaking to all these other sports. I mean, I think we need to give to them. I think that whether we do it more than that, we do because I'm telling you, I know a young man right now that has autism. Well, they say he had. I'm telling you, I don't like to tag nobody with a title. They said he had autism, and I guarantee you a lot of people wrote him off. But I'm going to tell you what, he is a very big inspiration in our county right now. And he has a job. He went to college, graduated college, has a job here, works in this county, and they said that I guarantee you a lot of people wrote him off. But he is an inspiration in this county, and it's the same way. We don't know the plans that God has for each one of these kids, each one of these students, and by just encouraging them and lifting them up and telling them how to get a job they did, that goes a long way in building their confidence and building that I can do this. Because like you said something earlier about, I think it's your son, he might struggle in one area, but his mind, how he can remember things. Everybody has something they're good at.
Yes.
And so I'm tickled to death you're running. I hope everything works out for the best. So tell people what you plan on them doing on March the 3rd. You want them to do what?
Vote for Terri Blumer.
Well, again, we want to thank everybody for tuning in, and it's so good to have you, Miss Terri, and sit down. And I'll be honest with you, I hadn't sat down with no school board member yet. You're the first one. I know I got a young man coming later on. That's just like I said, the invitation's out for everybody. If they want to come, sit down, and we just sat down and talk. And I want people to learn who you are, because a lot of times somebody be on the ballot, we don't even know who they are. We don't even know their face. And our young people don't even know who they're voting for. They don't, so they just pick that's a famous name, and I'm going to color it off. That's not how it works, because the decisions made today will affect tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And
I appreciate it very much. This is my first podcast, so I don't know what to expect.
And I didn't give you no heads up coming in.
That's okay.
That's all right. We just,
you got me raw. This is who I am. I don't hide anything. You ask me a question, I'm going to answer the best of my ability.
Well, thank you so much, and for taking time. Thank you so much for wanting to invest in our students and our kids in the county that you don't even have a kid in school anymore, but you want to invest. You want to invest. So thank you for that, and I hope y'all hit the share button, get the word out for our podcast. Who's This Podcast? And if you're interested in coming on and being on here with us, all you have to do is look up Who's This and podcast, and you'll find a link. You can go to our website and get our link there that will take you to a registration form you can fill out and come and be a part And we make it pretty easy anytime that you can come. We try to set up that time that you can come in and be with us. And so, again, don't forget, early voting's already started. Go out. If you don't early vote and you do like myself, I'll make sure that I take my whole family as one and my kids. And that is a special day to us that we go out and express or get to do the right that we have here in this land that we live that's free, that we have the right to vote. And so if you don't go vote, don't share your opinion. How about that?
Go
vote. So go out and vote. And again, we thank you for tuning in. Hit the share button, and God bless you.